I'm Brian Van, sportbiketrack3.com, and today we're going to install a Yoshimura R-77 full exhaust system on our 2015 Yamaha YZF-R3 STG project bike. Carbon fiber R-77 canister, stainless steel header and mid pipe. Let's talk a little bit about Yosh. Their packaging is the best I think I've ever seen. They literally have a box. Go ahead and show them this, Tyler. This thing was full of spray foam surrounding all the parts. So they came in perfect condition. Unpackaging, a little more challenging, but the end result is your parts are in perfect condition. Comes with a full set of instructions. This one comes complete with a DB killer if you want to use that. We're not going to use that. I'm not worried about it. We've got our springs, our hardware. It even has a pipe spring tool, which is pretty cool. Now, we're going to begin to disassemble the motorcycle and show you what it's going to take to install this. And then when we're done, of course, we'll have the moment of truth. We're going to run the bike, and you can hear how the Yosh full system sounds. Okay, we're going to go through the entire disassembly process. I think that'll really help most of you out there install your own system. We're going to begin here at the back. We're going to get off the stock canister here. Got a T-handle, 12 millimeter. At the end of the day, for the most part, this is just going to require the use of common hand tools. Save all your hardware. I tell you that every time I work on a bike, save all of your stock hardware. You never know when you might need it again. Okay, now the silencer is loose right there at the mount. And then we're going to come down here and we need to remove this panel. I was not able to get the ratchet onto the fastener for the clamp. We've got 3 Allens here. They're all 5 millimeter head. Put this to the side. Now we're going to be able to get to our silencer mount here, 10 millimeter. Just need to loosen it up enough so we can get it off in the muffler box. Slides right off. We're going to get a weight on this for you too. Not that this motorcycle really needs to lose any weight, but it's always good to know what the weight difference would be. Fairings, okay. I want to remove, I think, the fairing here on the right side of the motorcycle. I think we take off just the one side. That's going to give us plenty of access to install the head and mid pipes. This will be the first time I've taken these off, so we're going to be experimenting here just a little bit as we go. Doesn't really look too complex at the end of the day. Take off this little side panel here as well. Grounding gets pushed into there and down here as well. Gets our side panel off. Over by the gas tank. And this part here feels like it wants to come off. clips here. Side fairing, there we go. All right. What we had here is we had a tang that went into here. Okay, we had the same deal over here. All right, so that's what it takes to get that lower side panel off. And we're going to go one step further, and we're going to try and get this one off as well. And that should give us plenty of access. Push pin here, release that. Looks like we will need to remove this 10mm bolt here. All right, starting to come loose nicely. There's a push pin right there. I've got a Phillips head screw up here where the two fairings come together. Those. There. And then at the very bottom, there is one of the Phillips push pins. Release that. And now we're starting to get somewhere here. Got another Phillips head screw up here in the front. Push pin up here in the corner. Lots of fasteners. Okay, got the fairing part there on the bottom now. Got one more Phillips head here on the inside. There's a screw right there. Okay. Decent access here now. That could have actually stayed on there. I'll lower this down. And I want to remove this closeout panel up here at the top. I think that's going to give me a good view of what needs to happen next. Got a little push pin on the inside. Another one back here on the back side of the forks. Tighter. It's one of those scenarios where it would almost be a little better if I didn't have this on a work table right now. Gotta work this screwdriver down in here and then get up and get on this push pin to release it. Once I get this one off, you should be able to get in there and pull this closeout panel. It's a little spot right here. There we go. Okay, that bad boy out of there. Now we're able to get this closeout panel off. And it looks like our last fastener is right here. Go ahead and get that one off. So this should help you a little bit disassemble your motorcycle. Like I said, this is the first time I've done this. Very well put together, in my opinion. Pretty impressed with this little bike so far. Okay, we're going to have our turn signal now. It's going to need to be unplugged. Harness for it is right back here. See that? And that. Okay, there is the retainer for it. We're definitely going to want to keep track of that. And looks like we have a screw right here. Okay, and we're hung up in this area here. Slide it forward. There's a little lock tab right here. Going to slide into a hole here, so once you have this screw out here, you're able to slide this forward, and there you have it. There is our fairing removal. Now we're going to be able to bring the table back up and focus on the exhaust system. Okay, we've got that stock silencer off now. We're going to focus on our O2 sensor, right? What I'm going to do here is, rather than taking the bolts out of the motor case, they have these little metal tangs here that are used to hold the wiring harness in place. They're really flexible, okay, so I'm going to deform them just a little bit. It's going to allow me to get the harness for the O2 exposed. And now, this is a really long wire. We have a lot of access. To unplug this, I'd have to take more stuff apart, and you know what, I'm really not in the mood to do that. So, I'm going to break my O2 loose down here, and we've got a lot of wire to work with, so I'm just going to kind of twist it, right? There's some folks that think this is a bad call. I'm just going to dispute that a little bit here and say that this is something that I've done many, many times over. We used to work on cars, the Cadillac dealer. You had instances where you'd pull out O2 sensors. Did that all the time. I never saw any negative results. You also have to be intelligent about it and don't twist it so hard that you know you're about to damage the wires. Okay, O2 out. We're going to come up to the head bolts, the exhaust flange bolts. We're going to go ahead and take those out, 12 millimeter. This is a little twin, so we've only got 4 to deal with. Pretty simple here. I've got a short extension, 3/8 drive ratchet on a 12 mil deep well. Pretty basic stuff here. We will reuse these nuts with our new Yosh system. When we're done with this, at some point we'll be adding some type of fuel mapping, fuel controller, okay? In my opinion, riding the bike around a bit before that happens is not really a big issue. Let's let's just say it wouldn't be the first or last time that I've done that without any problems. Okay, slide the flanges off of the studs, like so. Let them rest on the exhaust pipe. Now we're going to look for additional mounting points here. We're loose up at the motor. You look back here, and we have 2 mounts where the muffler box is mounted up to the frame of the motorcycle. We're going to actually have to remove the rear set bracket on the side. $6mm Allen. And out that comes. Before I remove the one on this side, I'm going to go over to the other side of the motorcycle and loosen that one up. They're in relatively the same position. I don't need to remove anything on this side. Go over here, use my T-handle, and break this bad boy loose. Run it out. Off it comes. Go back to the other side of the bike. Like any of these repair videos that we show y'all, if you're not comfortable with doing what you see, take it in and have the dealer do it. I will add that, working on your own bike really kind of takes the hobby to that next level, in my opinion. And there you have it. Here is our head pipe with the muffler box. We're going to go over and weigh this stuff and compare it to the new Yosh system. Okay, the first thing you want to do right now is we want to make sure that the exhaust gaskets are in place and look good. They are both firmly held in place. They look to be in great condition, so we are ready to install the head pipe. What we're going to do here is we're going to get this header pipe up here. We're going to slip our flanges over, and then we're going to run down the nuts only finger tight to start off with, okay? Okay, get that dipped up in there. Get the first flange up in place. That actually fit real nicely. It took no pressure to put it up in there, which is pretty cool. When I put the nuts on these flanges, okay, when we go to tighten them, one of the things I really want to work hard to do is make sure that they're each torqued down evenly, that you don't have one part of the flange, one side of the flange that's torqued down more than the other and it's pulled closer to the cylinder head. Okay, so look out for that as we continue through the project. You want to make sure that you're doing the same thing. Equal amount of threads on the stud after the nut is run down is what your goal should be. Okay, that's good to go. Kind of leave that a little bit loose. Now, our mid pipe. This mid pipe comes with 2 bungs. The first one is going to work with your stock O2. The second one you would use if you want to do, say, like an auto tune or something like that. They supply a cap for the larger of the 2. So we're going to go ahead and thread that in a nice stainless cap. Got a wrench right here to snug that up. Looks good in there. Okay, now we want to slide our mid-pipe on, like so. And let's see how this lines up with our stock bracket. Wow, that's pretty impressive. As you saw, zero pressure put on that, literally slid right through it. They supply a nut for the backside. We're going to use our stock fastener, okay? So that is up against the mount. We're still not going to tighten anything. Now we're going to go back and slide over our canister, okay, like so. Canister strap is right here. We will also be reusing our stock hardware back here for the canister. Let me go ahead and get this in place. Comes with a rubber sleeve here, right? Spacer is going to protect that carbon fiber canister. I'm going to go ahead and get the stainless steel band fit into that channel nicely. Get this all lined up. This quality is pretty impressive so far. I can even point out here with this canister strap, look at that. They have the rubber molded so that it actually goes into the holes in the canister strap. So when you're fitting this, be careful, make sure you get everything lined up nicely. I don't think you need to watch me do all this on camera. So when we come back, I'm going to have this canister strap slid over the canister, and we're going to be ready to begin to snug up our system. I've got that rubber insulator all installed. You know, it really grabs onto the canister a little bit. So what I want to do, I've got a little Motul wash and wax here. Stuff's obviously a little slippery. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and use that to help us get this thing in place without knocking it all off. Okay, start from the back side, get the canister fit. That band is really formed for this canister. All right, I can't tell you what a huge difference that made. Tyler watched me just try and do this beforehand, and it was a lot harder to get that lined up without just a little bit of lubrication on this. So I think I just came up with a pretty cash money little trick. And remember, we're going to clean this system right before we run the motorcycle. And take a look at that. I mean, the way they have that rubber molded in there, I mean, that looks very professional. Okay, so that little bit of lube helps you retain that real pro look. It doesn't pull any of it out of there. We were talking about the canister too, how a lot of the other guys have a sticker. Yosh has a badge riveted right onto the can, and it looks pretty sweet on that carbon fiber. Okay, now, my next step is going to be, I want to torque down my header flange bolts. I'm going to work from front to back as I tighten this bad boy up, okay? First thing I'm going to do is make sure that I've got these flange nuts all hand tight and as even as I can get them, because I think that is super important, okay? You don't want one drawn down more than the other. We're also going to remove that rubber band that Yosh had here. Like so. All right. Do not want to run the motorcycle with that on there. Now we're ready to use our ratchet and snug these up. Nice even torque all the way across should be your goal. now I'm ready to torque them down completely. When you do this too, to make sure that you don't have any issues with the nuts loosening up down the road and actually losing one, what you can do two things. You could safety wire them, which is a pain in the butt. Or you could take some high temp silicone and you put just a dab right where the threads end and the nut begins. And if anything ever does happen, it starts to want to loosen up, it won't allow it to back off. So that's another little trick that you could utilize down the road. Okay, now our O2 sensor. We need to be able to put this on there and tighten it up. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these wires. I'm going to rotate them opposite the direction that we'll be tightening it, like so. Hold the sensor down here. All right, I'm going to bring this bad boy down here. Got it all wound up in the other direction now. And just got to get it started. And as I twist, you'll see the wires begin to unwind, like so. Just got a little twist up in here to come out. If you prefer to disconnect the O2, hey, more power to you. Just go ahead and you're gonna have to disassemble the other side of the bike a little bit to get the proper access. Okay, but as you saw, I chose another route. Okay, and there's no undue tension on that whatsoever. Snug it up. Make sure you put your O2 wire back in place. Those are very flexible. They're going to move right back into place for you. No worries. Last one. We've got that all snugged up. For any of y'all who've watched me put on other exhaust systems, I've always complained about never buying a spring tool and always using my pliers. Well, Yosh has supplied me with a spring tool. I will now put in my toolbox, so I don't have to go through that anymore. Super sweet tool. Look at how nice that is. I'm going to rotate this out so our little Yosh logo is facing the proper direction. I'm going to need to get the other one from the other side of the bike. Back here, dip that in, like so. Okay, I'm going to go to the other side. One spring I cannot reach on. Reassembly is something of the fairing is something we're not going to show you. I really don't feel the need to do that. All you have to do is reverse the process that we showed you initially for disassembly, and I think that's going to get you right where you need to be. I need to snug up the mount back here for the canister, as well as the one here for the mid pipe. Start with the one for the mid pipe. Slide the rear set out of the way. Nice and snug. Back here, snug this up. One of the most important things we're going to do now before we run this bike. Okay, we are going to clean the system. I think they recommended some type of an alcohol-based solutions that will really evaporate. You want to get all your fingerprints off before you ever get this pipe hot, because if you do get the pipe hot with your oily fingerprints on it, you could discolor the pipe. All right, the pipe's gorgeous. The last thing you want to do is screw that up before you even get a chance to ride it. Go ahead and snug up our rear set. Like so. Okay. When we come back, I'm gonna have the fairings on. I'm gonna clean this system off nicely. And we're gonna do the cool part. We're gonna start the bike and see what it sounds like. All right, now for the best part, we're gonna start the bike and see what it sounds like. If you watch our channel, you come to our site, you've probably already heard the Akropovic slip-on. Now here's our Yosh R-77 full system. Looks phenomenal. Okay, that is without the DB killer installed. It does come with it, all right, this whole system. So I know some folks are gonna ask, so we're just gonna go ahead and do it and see what the difference is. Obviously the difference from this to stock is huge. We didn't even let you listen to stock today, right? To install this, you pull a little rubber plug from the inside of the carbon end cap, okay? You're gonna wanna line up the bolt hole with the hole there so we can get this down in there. All right, it's going to be a little bit of a snug fit. Okay, you want to pass it through, get it down in there, and then what you're going to do is you're going to want to have a look from the back side, try and get that bolt hole lined up as much as possible. Ah, it turned out pretty good first time. Okay, now you're going to put your fastener on here. Pass it through. Get it lined up. Thread it into the DB killer. Like so. I'm not going to snug it up because I'm taking it back out. I definitely want it as loud as possible. Put your little plug back in, okay? Now let's see what it sounds like. Clearly there's a difference. Ignore that one pop. It's probably from rubbing a little fuel loaded up. Don't worry about that. That didn't cause that. It looks great. It's affordable. The fit of this thing is precision. Okay, the packaging is precision. Yosh does a great job. It's really impressive. A lot of value with their products. This is our Yoshimura full system install on our 2015 Yamaha YZF-R3 STG project bike.